Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to break down a piece of tech that's, well, quietly rewriting the rules for just about everything: finance, the internet, even what it means to own something. We're talking about smart contracts. So, to really get our heads around this, I want you to forget all the jargon for a second. Just think about this. What if every agreement you made, big or small, worked exactly like a vending machine? Because that, right there, is the big idea behind a smart contract. It's basically a deal written in code that lives on a blockchain. And just like that vending machine, once you put your coin in, once the conditions are met, it automatically does its thing. No waiting, no middleman, just a guaranteed result. Now, this whole thing might sound super futuristic, like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But you know what's funny? The idea's actually been around for decades. It was just waiting for the rest of the world to catch up. I mean, just look at that date on the slide. 1994. A computer scientist named Nick Szabo had this incredible vision. He pictured a digital agreement that worked exactly like a vending machine. You put something of value in, and the code makes sure you get what you paid for. Simple, brilliant, but way ahead of its time. Szabo's idea was like having a blueprint for a car before roads were even invented. It needed a foundation. Then, in 2009, Bitcoin came along and proved that a secure, decentralized network was even possible. But the real breakthrough for smart contracts was Ethereum in 2015. It was literally built to be the road, a global computer designed to run these kinds of programs, finally bringing that 1994 vision to life. Okay, so how do these digital vending machines actually tick? You might be surprised, but when you strip it all down, the logic behind it is incredibly simple. Seriously, it all boils down to this one simple rule. If this happens, then that happens. That's it. It's a powerful piece of logic that takes all of the guesswork and human error out of the equation. The rules are the rules. So you can really think of it in three basic steps. First, you've got the conditions. That's the if part, the rules of the deal. Second, you have the code, which is just the set of instructions for the then part. And finally, you've got the magic ingredient: automatic execution. Once the conditions are met, the thing just runs itself. Let's make this real with a super simple example. Say you're selling a software license. The condition is, if the buyer pays $50 in crypto. The action is, then the license key is automatically sent to them. It's instant, it's efficient, and notice that no one from the company has to lift a finger. And this is exactly why blockchain is the perfect place for these contracts to live. It gives them superpowers. They're autonomous, so they run on their own. They're immutable, which is a fancy way of saying once the rules are set, they can't be changed. And they're both transparent and secure, so everybody involved can trust that the code will do exactly what it's supposed to. Okay, so that's the how it works. Now let's get to the really fun part. What are people actually doing with this stuff? Because this isn't just theory anymore. This tech is already shaking things up in a big way. The biggest arena so far is definitely decentralized finance, or DeFi. You can think of it like this. Smart contracts are being used to build automated banks. They handle borrowing, lending, and trading assets, all without needing a traditional bank in the middle. The entire system just runs on code. And I'm sure you've heard of NFTs. Well, guess what's behind every single one of them? A smart contract. That contract is what brings the NFT into existence, what defines its unique traits, and most importantly, what keeps a permanent record of who owns it. It's the ultimate proof of digital ownership. This whole idea of true ownership is also blowing up in the world of gaming. Using smart contracts, players can actually own their in-game items. That rare sword, that cool character skin, the contract proves it's theirs, and they can even sell or trade it outside of the game. It's creating brand new economies. And as you can kind of see here, it's spreading everywhere. Beyond DeFi, NFTs, and gaming, we're seeing them run entire organizations called DAOs and even track goods across global supply chains to make them more transparent. And we are just scratching the surface. So look, this all sounds pretty amazing, I know. But it's really important that we have a balanced view here. Because like any powerful new technology, smart contracts have some huge advantages, but also some very real risks. On the one hand, yeah, the pros are massive. They're secure, they're lightning fast, and they can cut out a ton of expensive middlemen. But on the flip side, a single tiny bug in the code can be a huge vulnerability for hackers. Network fees can sometimes get really high, and if something goes wrong, well, there's usually no customer support line to call for a refund. So, keeping all that in mind, the good and the bad, where is this all headed? Let's zoom out for a second and just imagine the kind of potential that's waiting right around the corner. The possibilities here are kind of staggering. Just think about it. Imagine an election where the votes are counted instantly and transparently by a smart contract that everyone can inspect. Or managing your private health records on a secure system you control. Or even buying a house where the deed is transferred to you the exact second your payment goes through. That's the future we're talking about. And this brings us to the most important takeaway of all. Smart contracts are so much more than just a clever piece of tech. They really represent a fundamental shift, a shift in how we make deals, how we move value, and, at the deepest level, a shift in who or what we trust. We're moving from trusting people and institutions to trusting transparent, verifiable code. And that really leaves us with one last big question. As this technology weaves its way more and more into our lives, it's going to force us all to think about what trust really means. It's not just about the code anymore. It's about the very foundation we choose to build our future on.